What did you think when you saw it drop?
At first, I was like, there's other tools that have been able to do this. And then I started playing with it and clicked as to how impactful this is. Because every time ChatGPT rolls things out, they're just dominating in that respect. That was interesting because it also overshadowed Google, which you would think has the best distribution, but really they're crappy at marketing. It's like they're horrible. It's bizarre. Claude, the big feature they were missing that everyone has done now was internet access. That has just made Claude. I'm a huge Claude fan, so I will continue to push that one out there, but they have this and it's just like game changing again.
Do you think this was the biggest AI story last week, or did I step over something else? All right, Liz, another slow week in AI. Nothing happened. Nothing's going on. Dude, it's like every week something new and crazy happens. Like this week, Grok was already releasing some image editing software. So anybody who's tried to edit an image within ChatGPT or Grok or anywhere, they can't do it. They're like, it's against my protocols. It won't let them do it. Or if you've ever tried to generate an image and be like, hey, I want to add this to my slide deck. The words are spelled wrong and it looks weird and there's weird characters. Well, Grok first came out with their edited imaging, and then OpenAI came out, and it's phenomenal.
Yes. Yes. There were sort of like wonky ways that you could get to this outcome, but you had to like be in the weeds and figuring that out, use 5 different tools, and it's just so easy. It's just so seamless. Like this is a whole new era. And I think people are just realizing like this is a step function in the development. It's just because of how easy it is and how it's built in now to ChatGPT, which obviously has massive distribution.
So what did you think when you saw it drop?
At first I was like, oh, okay, like there's other tools that have been able to do this. So they're just, again, now killing startups. And then I started playing with it. And then it clicked as to how impactful this is. Because every time ChatGPT rolls things out, like again, they have such mind share in this space that they're just dominating in that respect. Because I know people who are like, I'm only going to use ChatGPT. So it's like, even if things pop up on Claude and they're better, like we don't have that switching and people using multiple models. So I think that's huge. And then that sort of was interesting because it also overshadowed Google, which you would think has the best distribution, but really they're crappy at marketing. It's like they're horrible.
It's weird. It's weird.
It's bizarre. I mean, I sort of get it because, they haven't had to be good at marketing just because of their monopoly. And so it's like these smaller guys, well, I guess OpenAI isn't really that small anymore, but like relatively speaking, and they're crushing it.
Can I show you an example real
Go
quick?
for it. Yes.
Okay. So one of the things, it's kind of niche, but whatever. I post a lot. I post a lot to social media. And one of the things that I consistently have a hard time with is how do I get my, call it, Twitter posts to look like a LinkedIn post.
Yep.
So I posted this a while ago. I thought, is Greenland for sale? It sounds wild, right? Like it was a fun post. I had fun doing it. And then it had a lot of views. And then each subsequent post on the thread was like, hey, this is how the math works out. And basically what I did is I took the square kilometers, what they sold for, adjusted for inflation, what that would mean for Greenland's price per square kilometer today. And so like, this was the first one. This was another comp. I break it down, the buyer, the seller, the size, the price, whatever, price per kilometer, Greenland at this price. And then it shows you where it is. And I did this 5 times.
Yeah.
And then at the very end of it, I said, my unsophisticated guess is $20 trillion. Just like I was messing around and like, I got a bunch of engagement, but I've been like thinking, okay, how do I translate this to LinkedIn? And so I went yesterday and I uploaded the thread and I said, I want you to make this a LinkedIn carousel, which is basically PDF forms. And I'm going to show you the output. I did not change a thing. This is the first draft iteration of the output it gave me for this. All right. So this is it.
Oh my gosh.
This is the post, which is, let's see if I can say click more. No, it's not going to show me.
And that is actually a really big pain point. Like I know people have like tried to build little tools for this, but none of them have been all great. This is awesome.
So like, if you remember that first one, it's like, here, let's break it down. There's no edit here. It did this. It generated the picture of Greenland. It generated how I'm calculating this. And then it goes to the next one. Here is the first one. This was the year. This is the buyer, the seller, the size. This is what Greenland would be at this price. And it did it for each one of those. I did have one hiccup because it forgot the Danish West Indies. And then when I asked it to do it again, it gave me this format, which is weird. But then I did the whole thing and it looks really good, right?
Really good. Everything is an infographic now. Like we're going to be living in the land of infographics.
It's insane. My brother-in-law, who loves to like start companies and then, like, I'm going to create the logo for it. I showed him this last night and he was like, oh my gosh, I can create any logo I want. Like everything looks professional. It's phenomenal.
Agreed. And I mean, I think the other big use case that you're just seeing explode online too is ads. Like that's the obvious, like being able to now scale your ad testing is going to be off the charts, because literally I've been seeing people take ads, and I took a whole bunch of old ads and I put modern products in, and it even figured out like what the product messages should be. I can pull some up too right now.
No way. Really?
Yeah, here. So like I didn't put in any, like I was trying to see like how lazy on the prompting can I be? And you can be pretty lazy now. If you don't really put much in there for it to pop up. Here, let me share my screen.
Do you think this was the biggest AI story last week, or did I like step over something else?
No, I think this was, well, okay. So I think this was definitely.
We'll get to the others. I was just curious. Like,
I think this probably was, because again, it's just the level of impact that it has, that again, it's just is making it so simple and so.
Well, yeah, like I said, anybody who's ever tried to generate an image on ChatGPT, it's like the spelling's off or it looks funky or it's blurry or whatever. What I just showed you, that was version 1. I didn't edit any of those. I didn't ask it to change anything. Now it took a while to like get them to generate each one. It's not a quick generation of the photo.
Yeah.
But I think about putting a slide deck together or a company-wide presentation or a pitch deck or anything that you want to send out to your team, your staff, any marketing material, anything, any cold email outreach. All of a sudden it looks much more professional, and it's done in a way that is conveying it in the way that you want it to be conveyed, right? Like you don't have to all of a sudden become a copywriter or a digital designer to make it look good. Like ChatGPT is doing it for you.
1,000%. All right. Sorry.
Okay, we're here.
Screens. Okay. So basically.
Oh, I saw this post. It was so good.
Yeah. So pretty much like I had been wanting to actually do this for a while. Like I had thought it, and then I was like, oh, like the level of iteration for prompting and editing, it just was like.
So for people listening and watching, tell me what this is. Walk me through what you did.
So basically I took this old Bugles cover that was Video Killed the Radio Star. And I've been, thinking in my head, oh, so, AI is killing the SaaS star, like, entertaining myself here. And so basically what I did was literally just put it into ChatGPT and asked it to basically rephrase that line and then add in prose and replace glasses. And it did it.
Dude, that's amazing. Yeah. So you're looking, pull that picture back up.
Yeah.
So you're looking at two people, a man and a woman. They have a yellow shirt on with a tie, and they have the Apple Vision Pro on their face, and it says GPT-4o killed the SaaS star. Yeah. Why did you include the Vision Pro?
I just was like, oh, because the original one of the guys has glasses, so I was like, okay, that might be fun. So there wasn't much thought beyond that.
Dude, that looks so good. Yeah.
And then I just pulled up a whole bunch of like old ads, which of course it's more impactful for new ads, but literally, so I found like Pang, and I just said, choose something, and its own text. So basically, it went from saying,
wow.
Tang has the taste we love and all the vitamin C we need. And then it changed it to ChatGPT has all the answers we love and all the knowledge we need. So
and it rewrote the whole copy on there too.
All of it.
Do the next one. This is I Love Lucy.
Okay. Yep. I Love Lucy with a bath soap. So here it is, Lux toilet soap in a large bath size. And then it now has, here it is.
And she's holding an iPhone. Oh my gosh.
iPhone. And
it says bath size, but whatever. Yeah. The prompt will get better. Oh yeah. Do Tony the Tiger. What is this? Yeah.
So then I took this one from, from SO Gas.
Oh, it's not Tony the Tiger.
Or it's SO Gas, I guess. I don't know. They had a tiger at some point filling the tank of a police car. And it's like a really bad photo, actually.
Well, next month, it'll be a year since I started this podcast. I've had over 100 interviews. It's been a ton of fun. But I promised my wife at some point I would decide whether or not this was going to be a business or we would just continue to pay for it out of our pocket. And I'm exploring monetization, to be honest with you. There's not a ton of costs, but I do want to figure out a way to cover the editing and the packaging and the promotion costs of putting this podcast together. So I am looking for sponsors. I don't know what that looks like. If you've enjoyed this podcast and you've ever found some value and you want to sponsor, reach out to me, Nick@cofounders.com, and let's get back into it.
And then it upgraded it and it included, and I said, do this for a Cybertruck. And it did it with the Cybertruck. It knew to change the gas to an EV. Like I didn't say that in my prompt.
Wow.
Some couple spelling things that didn't catch, but for the most part, this is like, you can fix that pretty easily. So it's impressive.
Yeah. So over the last couple of weeks, I've spoken to a bunch of entrepreneurs who are using AI in their business, and the recurring theme of the use case for AI is sales and marketing.
Yes.
And so this is, in my mind, this is just a continuation of that theme, right? Like you would be using this for sales and marketing, good ad copy, maybe you're rebranding, maybe you have a campaign that you're sending out, but now it can look fantastic. It's awesome.
Absolutely. Like this is super, super exciting.
What did OpenAI step over? Google. And what happened?
Well, first off, like last week, and I think it's been over a week, so this wasn't exactly in the last 7 days, but Claude came out with their 3.7, and no one really talked about a ton of things happening. Like people have been thrilled that like coding really improved and it's been great. But there have been some features that people haven't been talking about that I like stumbled upon, and I was super pumped. And then we'll get into Gemini and what that also means. Okay, so with Claude, so what I did for this week, I was like, okay, I need to figure out what's all the news. So I went into Grok, put it in, gave me a timeline. Then I said, okay, let's, we got to spruce this up. This is good for me to know, but like, well, everyone can do this. So I put it into Claude and I asked for it to visualize it, because what I discovered, and let me pull this up.
Visualize it. Like, what does that mean? How do you uploaded
exactly
an article and said, help me visualize this?
Exactly. And let me pull up what happened.
Where did you get this idea for visualizing from?
I like visualizing everything. So I know you're a process guy. I know in your previous biz, you've been in process. So process maps, like if you've ever been at a company that you need to plan something out for what the process is going to look like you map it out and you drag and drop.
Yeah,
and that's I hate doing it. Like I love the outfit and it's good, but I hate doing it. So for me, it's like anytime I can replace any kind of visual or design thing, I am thrilled to do so. So let me share. Okay. So all I said was turn the timeline into visualization. Again, crappy prompt, but it turned out to make this like beautiful thing. By day, it showed all the different things happening. So this is just like one of the examples. And then
So hold on, wait, don't go away from it.
Okay.
Can you make it bigger?
So I have to screenshot it. Unfortunately, this.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
So we're looking at a line that's linear. So the top of it says AI timeline, AI news timeline. It's March 19th through the 25th. Walk me through. So there's a line and it has like little bullet points in the line, time points. What do each one of those say?
Yep. So each bullet point has the date, and then under it are just colorful boxes
of the news story.
Yeah.
That is so freaking cool.
Yeah. So everything can be visualized now, and you don't need to even like be creative with your prompting or be a prompt master engineer. Like literally you can be lazy and just say like visualize it, and it'll figure out how to visualize it. Now, of course, if you want it specific, you can do that. But
yeah. So March 19th, we've got Minecraft AI benchmarks. We've got Google's Notebook LM. March 21st, we've got Meta revenue sharing, DeepSeek chatbot. Yeah, it just is. I wonder if could you build this into a dashboard and like send it out every day with links?
Totally. Absolutely.
That would be so cool.
Yeah. Hey, I'll build it afterwards and
newsletter
live for exactly. Yeah, actually.
So how did you look at this and discern like, oh, these were the biggest stories? Does that make sense what I'm saying?
I didn't. I let AI do it for me.
What I'm saying is there's a lot of stories on here. How do you know which one of these is like the biggest story of the week?
How I assessed it. So, I mean, I read through them, and this is where I actually do use my brain versus AI. And the ones that I thought were interesting, I think are the ones that will have the most impact on the end user. And that's, you sort of have to think through it.
Mm-hmm.
So like they don't actually even have on here Gemini, nor on here is OpenAI's release. So these were actually extra stories that didn't even include those. So, do have to have some iteration and tweaking on doing that process. But I think these are good, interesting sort of sub stories, like Anthropic's Brave search, like Claude, the big feature they were missing that everyone has done now was internet access. That has just like made Claude. I'm a huge Claude fan, so I will continue to push that one out there. But they have this, and it's just like game changing again.
I spoke with this woman last week Abby, and the episode will come out. It was an AI conversation. She's a writer,
Uh-huh.
and she's like, I call Claude my boyfriend
Yeah. Yeah.
because he knows me better than my husband now.
It's funny. I actually told my husband the same thing too, that I'm spending more time with Claude than I am with him. Oh, yeah.
Honestly, that has been my conversation with her. She's a writer.
Uh-huh.
And that has been the most, probably because I'm stupid, but the most impactful conversation that I've had. And she didn't share anything about automations. She didn't share anything about code she's writing. She just said, this is how I'm using Claude.
Mm-hmm.
This is how I'm using projects.
Mm-hmm.
This is how I write the project prompt. These are the documents that I upload to it. It was so cool and clear. And for me, such an easy use case for anybody who wants to use these AI tools on how to do it. And Claude, the UI on Claude is much better than ChatGPT. Like ChatGPT, you can do those things. You can create projects, but for whatever reason, I just find the UI on Claude to be a lot better for organizing your life.
And it somehow, for some reason, like, I don't know what it is, but I just always like the writing and the outputs. That just, it's different than ChatGPT, but I just think it's better. For my purposes, it always seems to just have better outputs. And I agree. And like the projects, like I now have, I think, over 100 projects going, and, you know, at some point we need to have an organization thing in AI that'll organize it or whatever. But until then, like, yeah, like creating projects and having your own little space has been great.
So I just got a notification that I got this. I ordered this week.
Okay.
Do you have any idea what it is?
Is this the pendant? That's awesome.
Yes, I'm
awesome.
so excited for it. It was supposed to come tomorrow, but for whatever reason, it came today.
How much are they? Just out of curiosity. Like
I'm
$100?
not telling you.
Okay.
$400.
Oh, 400. Okay.
It's not cheap. Little pendant. It's wrapped at the moment. But this thing essentially will listen to your conversations 24/7. Battery lasts for 3 days. And it will upload them so that you can save them, store them, and then access them. I don't know exactly how it works. That's why I want to play around with it. But think about walking through the day and a thought hits you and you're like, hey, remind me to talk to my mom tomorrow at noon. And then you have an automatic reminder set up because this thing's listening all the time. It's kind of creepy. I get it. But at the same time, I'm so excited to try it out.
I mean, this is where the world is headed. This is like, people have been sort of wanting or trying different iterations of this for like over a decade. And it's like, this is now the time. Like AR.
I've been talking to a friend about this, and I think that the models are just going to continue to get better. Right now, if I want to ask the model a question and I don't have it trained on my own proprietary data, I have the context window, right? And you can have 120,000 tokens, or you can have Google's million tokens, but there's a context window. They're going to get better. They're going to get wider. They can digest more data. It's going to happen. And so at that point, if you have more data to give it, the model will become better. And so in my mind, I'm like, cool, I'll start recording these conversations.
Absolutely.
I'll just have a ton of data on me, and then it can listen to it and understand what my preferences are, how I communicate, when I communicate, you know, when I get uncomfortable, what do I say, all of those things. So now it's like, I'm recording this, and I've already, like, Chris bought one of these, and I've already seen him use it. And like, oh, actually this meeting, we said this, and he goes and pulls the notes, and it's sure enough, it's right there. And it just, I'm so freaking excited.
No, that is awesome. And that's great too, because now you don't have to be like sneaky and like, I've had to put my phone on with auto running, and, you know, people may or may not know, and it's like awkward or whatever, but this is and I'm actually looking forward, because at some point they'll probably come out with video where you have that, and it'll probably be like glasses format.
Oh, wow, that one crazy.
For me as a parent, and I know you are one too, that like capturing moments that you miss, and, you know, too late to pull out the phone. So for me, like, I've been looking forward to like when that happens.
I love that idea. I hadn't even thought of that. Like 5 years from now, you know, you have a memory of the way that you interacted with your child. Like, hey, tell me about that time I told Royce he was bad at soccer.
Exactly.
And it's like, this is the exact conversation. Oh, that's going to be so cool.
And the other thing is, like, from a parenting perspective too, I'm always like, oh, I shouldn't have said this, or I should have said it better. But then I'm like, I don't remember how I said it and whatever. So now that's like another sort of sub use case. Obviously, you know, a lot of business people obviously have kids, but like, I also think always about the parenting use case of the parent.
Yeah, I'm a little worried about it, because I'm sure my wife will be like, no, I said this. Like, it's going to be the ultimate authority on who actually said what. Oh my gosh, I'm a little nervous. I'm a little excited, because I'm kind of hoping that I have been right most of the time, but I'm also nervous it's just going to show me how faulty my memory is. Oh, this is going to be so cool.
Well, the question's going to be, who has access to the files. You can tell.
So true.
If I were if your wife should go and figure out that one out quickly.
Dude, that is so freaky true. Anyway, so I am so excited for this. I'm going to start wearing it. I'm going to the Holdco conference next week, and so I'm going to have it on the whole time. It's like, that's perfect because I'm going to be meeting people. I'm going to be asking them questions. They're going to be telling me stuff. It's like, do I remember who they? It's going to be perfect for, oh, you met this person at this time. This is the company that they're with. This is what they said. Oh, you need to follow up on this item. Like, yeah, I'm beyond excited. I'm such a freaking nerd.
And find out if this has an API or if there's a way to connect this data. Because if you're going to that conference, you're just going to have like content gold for basically like a year, if not more. And so what you can
that's such a good idea.
Is if you connect it with even what I'm going to show you today, that you can literally use sort of the make scenario we're going to build together and just tweak it and make it so it like creates content out of those conversations. Now, again, I don't know if it has an API. I bet it does.
I'm sure. Oh, it does. It has to.
Yeah. Otherwise, like, what's the point? Or like,
what's the point?
Way to access the data. I mean, even if it's in documents,
it's $400, and then you have to pay. There's a free version, which is like, I want to say it's like 50 hours a month.
Oh.
And then there's a $20 a month, which is 100 hours, and then there's a $30 a month, which is unlimited.
Okay.
So like, there's no way that there's cloud storage and they don't have an API.
Yeah, that has to.
It has to be there.
Yeah.
So last week we were talking and you like had this whole make automation and you're like, here's the really cool thing. And I'm over here like, me caveman, me no understand. So this week you said you would actually show me how make works. And I'm really excited to see how it works because I think there's a lot of use cases for people in their business and most people just don't know how to use it.
Yeah. So before I'll hop over. And while I'm hopping over to this, I think so there's a bunch of different tools out there that are similar to Make. You probably have heard Zapier, that's been around the longest. There's a consumer version called If This Then That, IFTTT. There's N8N, which I would say is a little bit more advanced because the UI is very intimidating. And then there's Lindy, Gumloop, and like a bunch of these are coming out. I would say Make.com.
Flow-wise, I found this.
Exactly. I would say Make.com is going to be the best one as like the gateway drug because it has like the nicest UI. It's very visual. There's definitely like, if we could do a different session on comparing all of them and what's good. I think Lindy is another really easy to use one if you're getting started with this, but essentially they're all doing the same. And again, what they're doing is, as Nick had mentioned last week, a really good analogy is that this is like the roads connecting different, houses or whatever. So it's basically connecting your different software tools together. So you can take data from one system and pass it along to something else, and then it can do a bunch of things along the way. And so this, I would say, gives people, I think, the best, again, outcomes and impact for their business. Because again, in a business, yes, you have these one-off tools, but then it's copy and paste from one thing to the other, export from one tool to next. This allows you to avoid that and actually do a full workflow, complete a full task. And that's, ultimately what it's about. If you're just single player, then you still need a human interacting. This can actually remove humans from a process. So before we even dive into building, I just sort of wanted to give people a little bit of a lay of the land here. So again, this is make.com. When you get in here, you'll have an organization, different people you can add. And then this is sort of the important area. This is called scenarios. So that's just basically what they're saying is the flow we're going to build out.
Okay. So each like automation or flow is called a scenario.
Exactly. So if you're doing, so I'll go back. I have like a gazillion going on right now, but like, this is for doing Slack Q&A. This is a scenario. Fine-tuning writing with YouTube script.
Stay on this. Hold on. So this scenario I'm looking at, I see ChatGPT. I see, what are the other softwares you have?
So I have something called a webhook, which we'll get into. That's another, it's not like an API, but it's just a way you can catch data, send data from basically like the web. You can shoot off, say, I want to send this information. And this is, the webhook is basically, I'm catching the information. And then we have this thing called dumpling AI, which is basically just, you'll run into little hiccups in terms of data manipulation. So they have a bunch of little tools that you can use to solve those without having to figure it out or do code. And then we have a bunch of ChatGPT. And then we have a little tool that's built into make.com that helps you change the data into this format that I sort of alluded to last week called JSON, which again, you don't need to know what that is. Like, don't be afraid of it. Technically it's code, but like, it's copy and pasting. So if you know how to copy and paste, you'll be able to do this.
Yeah. So like an example from this workflow would be, hey, I'm just making something up. I want to learn how to fix a light bulb in my house.
Mhm.
I go to YouTube and I'm like, oh, this is a long video. I actually want to look at the transcript so that I can run it through ChatGPT and have ChatGPT like tell me step by step. Okay, well, first you have to download the transcript. How do I do that? Okay, there's a tool for that. I go to that website. I copy and paste the LinkedIn. Oh, okay, cool. And then it spits out an output. And then I take that text file and then I take it to ChatGPT and I say, here's a text file, ChatGPT. Write a step-by-step process for me with a summary. And then it gives me this step-by-step process with a summary. Okay, save that to a Word document. And then it saves to a Word document. Humans had to do all of those things, but this is automated each one of those steps essentially.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right. So the other thing is like the best starting point is all of these tools have these things called templates. So they want you to use the tool and they want to make it easy for you. So there's a lot of things where like you don't even, you still need to hook it up to your data and your specific systems, but they give you a really great way as a starting point. So most of these templates, like out of the box, like they'll be useful, but like you'll always have to tweak things or whatever. So,
name a couple of them. I want to just, so this one's Facebook to Sheets.
Yeah. So like you can sync your Facebook ad leads to Google Sheets.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's the first one?
The
Sheets
first one,
and
generate. So it's a sheet, then a Google, then ChatGPT, and then another sheet, and it's generate GPT completions, and then put it into Sheets. So to basically say, I have data here, query the data in the sheets, put it into ChatGPT for some question,
right,
and then output it.
What's the Gmail one?
Oh, this is great. This is also probably something we should build for people maybe in the next couple of weeks. Send a Gmail from the sheets. So you could have like you're doing mass emails. This is the way. No more mergers. You don't need to use MailChimp. Like you can just use this as a way to trigger off sending a bunch of emails.
Yeah. So if I just wanted to like go and mess around with Make, I'd come in here and be like, okay, cool. I have an email list. I'll try to build one of these things.
Yeah. And they make it really simple and just like getting you started with all of this.
Cool.
Then there's, again, I won't go through all of these things, but there's just other ways of like when you connect your systems, like they want to make sure it's secure, you'll have to reauthorize and verify. And then you can also manage like webhooks and things again for like security purposes.
So like all of this looks and sounds scary, but when you get in there, you start just familiarizing yourself with how the flow works.
Totally. At the end of the day, I would say like just sit down, stick with it. There's plenty of information on YouTube. There's plenty of information out there. And the other little cool tool that I wanted to just throw out there that we should probably demo separately, but this actually goes to some of the Gemini Studio and Gemini Pro stuff. So they have this cool thing this is the aistudio.google.com. And they have this little area called Stream Real Time. You can literally have it screen shares with what you're doing. So if you get stuck on a make.com scenario and you don't know what to do, it can go in and provide feedback in real time.
Shut up.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah. So we could do it right now. I don't know. It takes a little bit of time and whatever. So
No. Let's do it. I'll do it right now. But all right, now's the part of the show where I feel the most uncomfortable, but my therapist says I need to face my fears. So here we are. I've started a newsletter and I want you to subscribe. And what you're going to get every single week are the aggregated conversations from that week that I have on this podcast with an overview of what their business actually looks like. I'm also going to throw in a review of 1 or 2 businesses that are listed for sale. I'll give you my opinion on whether or not the EBITDA multiple is good, or there's customer concentration, or there's red flags or green flags. And then lastly, I'm going to give you one piece of actionable advice every single week on how to buy your first business. So click the link below, subscribe to my newsletter, and let's get back into the show.
Basically, what the point being is like you have AI tutors, you have AI to support you when you get stuck. The other thing that I've started doing too, again, because AI is making me lazy. And so what I'll do is I'll really go into Claude, I'll go into ChatGPT or Grok, whichever your preferred one that can access the internet or access search, and ask it, say, I want to build this. Here's the outcome. I want to do it in make.com. How do I do that? And it'll give you step-by-step and provide the modules. And then you can literally also have it visualize those modules in a process map from Claude, like we just showed. So all of the steps can be taken care for you, and you don't have to do a ton of thinking. And this is like within 5 minutes that you can do that. So
All right. So what are you building today?
All right. So today we're going to sort of do a version of what I showed last week. We're not going to go into Fireflies just because I think I want to show people they don't even need to buy another subscription, because I hate buying new subscriptions and I'm trying to cancel as many as possible.
ZBB.
Exactly. So I'm going to show, if you have Google Meets, and you can do this with Zoom too, but what Google Meet does is like you record your video. So if you're recording it, it basically automatically saves a transcript to a folder. And so what we're going to do is look to the Google Drive folder, and then we're going to pull the file from a meeting I've had, and then we're going to summarize that and then also parse that information if we have time to be able to map it to a Google Sheet. So the Google Sheet could literally be your CRM. It could be any of your tools you use for managing information. But the exciting thing, again, that we had talked about last week is being able to both A, capture that transcript, and then B, be able to actually do something meaningful with that transcript. And then the third piece is being able to then store that information in a way within any sort of existing collaborative system.
Bottom line, what we're doing, we're taking a meeting that's been recorded and generating a summary of that meeting so everyone gets it.
Exactly.
Okay, let's see it.
All right. Okay, so what I've done here, you add this, there's a little plus sign here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do that plus sign, and then it pulls up all of these different apps. And so what we're going to do is, we know we want Google Drive. So I'm going to go Google Drive, start, and we see Google Drive. It then has a bunch of little sub modules that it pulls up that includes watch files, watch folders, watch all files. So it basically allows you to do a bunch of different things. You can search, create something. So you can just go through and sort of see all the different things you're able to do with this. And this pretty much, they cover most of the actions or triggers that you want. So, and just to define also, the trigger is what starts the workflow or starts the automation. And then you basically have the steps thereafter. So first, we always start with trigger. So the trigger is, we're going to watch files in a folder. So then we have this little timer thing that I just wanted to note. So this allows you to do it based on different time intervals, or you can do it on demand for when you just want to basically click the button to run and it'll run.
So when the trigger runs.
Exactly. So you can do it on a daily basis, set your time, whatever. Okay. So then once we're in this little module, you're going to add a connection. This might be the scarier part, but once you've done it a couple times, it's like super easy. So there's something called an API again, which is connecting different tools. This is sort of how you do that. But that oftentimes makes it really easy for you. So if you're connected through the authorization, like when you sign in on Google and it says sign in, which we're seeing here, you can literally do that. And when you click this, it'll pop up and you just sign in as if you're using that on any other tool, and it'll connect it.
Okay.
Sometimes you have to actually copy and paste an API key, which again is sort of like the password. But again, you're literally going.
But if you're using the AI as the tutor, like it'll tell you where to get this stuff from.
Exactly.
But in this instance, okay, we can just sign into Google.
Exactly. And so I already have this set up, so I won't recreate a new one. Selected my connection. We're going to say watch files by when it's created time. You can do it when it's modified. Then I'm going to do, you can select my drive, shared drive. I'm going to do shared drive on this one. And we're going to just go to the meeting recordings folder and we'll do all of them. You can watch specific type of files. So you can basically filter around that. And then right now, there's this thing called limit. This is actually super important, especially when you're testing things, because if you do all of them, this will go and like get all of the recordings, and that'll actually eat away at what these things called operations are, which is part of their pricing. So it's basically every time you run, there's like this little number that pops up, and that's considered an operation. And so you have pricing tiers that allow you to run certain amounts. So when you're testing things, just make sure you're always putting in a limit, like 1 or 2, just to see a sample. So we'll do cool. 2 for right now. Okay. And then it's from where do we start? Where are we going to start this? So you can do it from now going in the future. You could do it since a specified date. You can do all. So we're going to do probably in the last week, we'll just pull them up, or again, you can choose manually. So, and you can change this too. Okay, so once we're watching the folders, it's really good to actually test each of these modules once you've done it, just to make sure it's running properly. And so if you just right click, you'll then get this little thing that says run this module only. So we won't do this for every single one, but just to see, okay, so we saw that nothing was coming up, and that's probably because of when I did it based on. So we'll just choose a different start and we'll do all, and then it'll run. So
And so like if you were using Google Lab, or I can't remember what, it's Studio,
Yep.
it would be screen sharing with you right now and like would have told you, oh, hey, you forgot to select XYZ box.
Yes. Yes.
Nuts.
Okay, so this basically it shows, okay, I have data. I can, deep dive into this data. It's not really telling me much because it's showing me links to the file. So once it says I'm watching the file, it pulls the links to the file. So then you actually have to download the file. And you probably wouldn't have known that if you're just jumping in here. So again, that's why it's good to start off with either prompting one of the GPT or one of the LLMs, asking it for how you do it so you have a good starting point. Otherwise, you'll just figure out trial by error, or again, you can use the studio to help navigate. So we're going to download the file. All right. And we're going to pass then information from that first little module. It says, okay, we need the file ID here. And so we're going to look for, from the first one, where was the file ID? Because that's the information we need to pass over. And sometimes you might not know what that is. And sometimes you just have to do trial by error. And again, another way you can do things is once you test it, you have these little things up here. It looks like a little download icon. And it says download the input and download the output. So can go ahead.
I was just gonna say, so again, we're trying to get the transcript that was recorded earlier in the day.
Yeah.
Moved over to ChatGPT to do the summary and then sent out to us. Correct. So right now it's like, go look for this file, download it. That's what we're doing.
Yes.
Okay.
So if you run into errors, the other little method you can use is download input or download output. You copy and paste it. You would put it into, again, one of the LLMs to help you when you run into issues. So,
that's good to know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Third method besides just prompting, besides doing the input and output of the data, you can also export the full blueprint. This is called a blueprint, this whole scenario. And so you can actually export it and then upload that file into Claude or into ChatGPT and then ask for a better solution.
Hey, tell me what I'm doing wrong.
Exactly. All right.
Cool.
So we've watched it. We've now downloaded the file. So now we're going to run this whole scenario and we're going to run this full thing, because if we just run this module separately, we need to actually put an input. And I'm okay using up my operations for right now. So it just ran through, it got a file. And so this pulled a bunch of different files here. And now we see a 1 and then we see 2. So this provided us 2 files because, again, at the beginning, we said we're limiting 2 files. And so now we have, again, this doesn't look like useful because we don't know what's really in here because of just that's how the output is. And so if you didn't know what to do now, you would again go and ask ChatGPT. But here we're going to be grabbing, let's see, where is the data? Okay, so there's usually a little data thing. So I know we're going to end up with an error, but I just wanted to show what that means and looks like. Because the output, the data is like these basically binary. So numbers, or I don't know if that was actually binary, but numbers. So that dumpling AI tool we're going to include here. And that's because, let's see, what was it? Convert text. Okay, so sometimes, again, data manipulation is a thing. So let's see if we can do this real quick. All right. Okay, so
what are you trying to get right now? You're just trying to get the whole transcript or specific parts of the transcript?
No. So I'm still getting the full transcript, because the thing is with sometimes the tools, when they give you the data, it's not in the format that the next tool can ingest. So this is basically converting it to a format that ChatGPT now will understand.
Okay.
And so right now we have another chat completion here. And we're going to always select the model. I've spent a lot of money accidentally on things. So just make sure when you're choosing your model, you know how much it costs. And APIs cost more than when you're just paying your subscription fee. So, okay. So what I just did was in this dumpling AI, I converted it from doc to text. Then in ChatGPT, I selected the model, the method. So there's a lot of different methods. You can do it by a chat completion, a message assistant, which again, we can do those a different day. And then I'm passing basically the formatted text from the Google file that has now been converted, thanks to dumpling AI, into a format that it can understand. So, and then we're going to do a prompt, which we'll just do a quick prompt here just to see. Okay, so this was the text content, and we're going to say, please summarize the key insights. And in a different one, we could do just showing how you would actually format and structure it. But let's see what this looks like from just like a simple thing.
To be continued next time.